Are you going to allow other people to choose your outcome for you, to stop you from having the success that you deserve? The quality people actually want to see a success story. So I want you guys to think about your story. What story are you leaving behind? How many of you guys, you hear stories from these amazing people in our community and you feel like, I just don't have that story. I'm just not good enough. Like, I'm not there yet. How many of you guys feel that? With your hands. I wanted to tell each and every one of you guys that you have an amazing story. You do. The problem is, you haven't seen it through as yet. Your story is going to be stemmed from the results that you get. How many of you guys know my story? With your hands. I'll tell you guys my story. How many of you guys know my story? I used to stay in an abandoned house with a few friends, and we would sit down. How many of you guys know about like a kerosene heater? With your hands? Kerosene heater, so dangerous, right? I'd literally have a kerosene heater in like this abandoned house and the chairs, and then like that would like be inside of a house, by the way. That would be like our heater, like, or bonfire, whatever the case is, and like we just like sit around it, because then that would be our heat source. And like at the time I used to smoke so much weed, so I'd like take graba. For those that don't know, it's like a tobacco leaf. I'll take the tobacco leaf and I'll put it on a kerosene heater to dry it out, and like I'll crush it, put my weed smoke, and like that would be my life. One day we got a message from like the marshals. The marshals were like, hey, we're taking this house. You can't stay in this abandoned house anymore. You gotta go. Right? And this was like right before Christmas. And so I left. What if that was the end of my story? And this is what most of you guys are doing. Most of you guys are looking at where you guys are at the moment, and you're not understanding that for you to have that desirable story that you hear from every other person, like, you have to actually have a result. So imagine this would be my story. My story would be sounding like this. You know, in an abandoned house, I was just smoking a bunch of weed, and then, you know, everything was good until the marshals came, and then they kicked us out, and then I had nowhere to go. So then I'm homeless. Like, does that sound like a good story to you? Yes or no? Right? No, crappy story, horrible. What would that story sound like? Well, I was staying in an abandoned house, and, you know, things were horrible. I was like a huge drug addict and this and that, or weed addict, or whatever the case is. And the marshals came and they kicked us out right before Christmas. It was so bad. I actually like stayed, I literally lived in the basement of a college for like a week, because I didn't have anywhere to go. And then finally I was able to get access to a vehicle that I could rent from Uber, so I could start, you know, using this to make money. And so I started to become an Uber driver. Guys, how does that story sound? Does it still sound good, or does it sound like, or does it still sound like, or does it sound good? Right? It's still because there's no result. Okay, great. I have a mediocre result, right? That's cool. Like, just imagine for 2 seconds, right? A lot of you guys, how many of you guys know Batman or Spider-Man? With your hands. So like, just imagine if Batman, right? He had a situation with his parents, and like his parents got murdered and all those stuff, and he grew up, and his story was, my parents got murdered when I was a kid. So I'm just an alcohol addict. And I have a lot of money, but I don't really do anything because I'm sad and depressed. Would you guys watch that version of Batman? Yes or no? Absolutely not, because there's nothing, there's no result, there's no improvement, enhancement. Like, how many of you guys would love to see me one day make $1 billion with your hands? $1 billion. Whether you believe it or not, people want people to succeed. Like, yes, there are a few jealous people that would hate others to be better than them. But most people, like, if you actually find the really cool, great people, the quality people actually want to see a success story. It helps them. How many of you guys would love to see Trang make $1 million here? How many of you guys would love to see Christy pass her $100,000 milestone with her hands? Everyone loves a story. That's why we watch Spider-Man. That's why we watch Superman, Batman, because like they're going through the... But we want to see how they overcome it and get to the top. Does that make sense? Like, that's what drives us. That's what compels us. And too often do we quit on our story. We look at, okay, look at what Junior's accomplished. I'm not there yet. I'm discouraged. I'm demotivated. No. Too many times you look at this and that. No, you are living your own story, but you have to be able to live it and commit to it. Great. So back to my story. I was homeless, right? I figured out the Uber thing, and then fast forward a little bit. I figured out, I lost my car, and I went from thing to thing to thing, and then I figured out something online. I figured something out online, and it was super scary at first, but then I was able to earn my first $500 online. And this has changed everything for my life. It made me realize, holy crap, I can actually create money online. And so what did I do? I made my first $500. I made my first $10,000. I made my first $100,000. I made my first $1 million. And I used to be homeless. And now, because of me going through all those struggles and all that stuff, I'm now able to help other people along their journey. I'm now able to help and guide other people to live a more fulfilled life, because I remember when I didn't have that great life. That sounds like a cooler story, right? And that's what I'm explaining to you guys. Most of you guys, you stop at the front of your story, right? And you don't actually progress to see your story through. So this is the example that I'm going to be using. Everyone knows Ori's story, right? But there was a time when Ori had gotten started with us. She wasn't the Ori that you see right now. And I remember there was a time when she stopped showing up on Zoom. So I remember there was a time when Ori called me. She was just like, Junior, I have $174 in commissions, and like my car payments, like it's due, and I really need this $174 from you. I know it's not a lot to you, but it's going to be a lot to me. Now, I had a conversation with somebody else earlier that was telling me, hey, Ori stopped showing up on Zoom. She wasn't showing up. She was missing. And they kind of briefed me on why she stopped showing up. So I called Ori. I'm like, hey, Ori, what's up? And I was just like, hey, I haven't been seeing you on Zoom. And she was just like, oh, yeah, it's because I haven't been feeling it. I've been tired. I haven't been this and this. And then I was just like, Ori, I'm asking you for a reason. What's really going on? She's like, well, somebody was making fun of me about me, living in my car. And they were making it a big deal about me having, my clothes in the back, but I don't know where to put it. Like, I live in my car. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, they were saying that I should keep my camera off and it's embarrassing and all that stuff. I was like, who told you that? Junior, I'm not going to tell you that. Ori, I already know. I just want to hear from your voice, from your mouth. She's just like, well, you're going to get mad. Ori, who? Stop talking. Who is it? All right, it's these people. I was like, okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Right? I was just like, Ori, like, here's my question to you. Are you going to allow these people to stop you from having the success that you deserve? Are you going to do that? Like, are you going to allow other people to choose your outcome for you? She's like, no, but Ori, do they have your best interest? No. So then why do you care what they think? Why? Ori, I want to see you back on Zoom. Because the Ori that was on Zoom, active, showing up, doing what she had to do, she was so close. I can feel it. I can sense it. Just so close. And also, Ori, side note, stop asking me for $174. You want money? Make more money. I'd rather you bother me over $1,000 versus you bothering me over $100. Okay, Junior, I get it. All right. Ori got off the phone. We got off the phone. So after I had that conversation with Ori was like, so she started showing up, and guess what happened? The next payout that I had for her, it wasn't just $174. It was over $1,000. There's a saying, do not stop 3 feet short from gold. And most of you guys do that. Most of you guys stop 3 feet short from gold. And then you don't have that amazing story. Most people get hit with the shiny object syndrome. There has to be an easier way. There has to be a better way. There has to be this. There has to be that. Guys, I want you guys to understand, every single one of you guys have a story. Every one of you guys. But if you stop too soon, you're not going to make the story. I'm talking about, hey, your story is going to have to take time, and you're going to have to make time to build your story. You're going to have to take time to build your story. You're gonna have to. If you really want change, you're gonna have to. This is part of it. This is part of it. This is part of the growing and the learning and the moving and the shaking. This is part of it. And it's gonna take time.